I welcome all of you once again. Pallavi is a certified financial planner, and she's going to share with us all nonsense of insurance and investments for all of us. Thank you, Pallavi, for taking out time. Let's go ahead. So these are the steps of our financial freedom, right?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
These are the 5 core steps of financial planning, which I have written here on the top right. If you will see all of them as we progress in the journey. They will start becoming, dark green. So I have written all of them up over there. You can see them in the form of arrows. So the first step is really your assessing your current financial situation. For that, you need to know your spending patterns. You need to know where all your incomes are coming from if you have multiple sources of income, and then segregate all of this. So on the left, what you see in the gray is the bank statement as is. I have just copy pasted that. On the right, I have written what are the various heads under which I'm spending this money. Yeah. Likewise for credit card, and you can do it for your net wallets, for every place where you land up spending money from. Yeah. Once you have this in place, the intent is really to divide it across 4 heads. One, living expense, lifestyle expense. What is it that you're spending towards protection, covering your risk? And then 4th will be your investment or savings. Yeah. So these are the 4 heads across which I would encourage you to divide all these expenses. And then you must try and cap your living expenses at about 40%, lifestyle expenses at about another 25% of your incomes. The remaining 35%, from that, about 10% should go towards your pure insurance premiums, like your health insurance, your car insurance, your term insurance, that you can pay from the remaining 10%. And the remaining 25% is actually meant to be saved for your future financial needs. Yeah. This is just a rule of thumb that I kind of encourage people to follow. The next stage is where you come and understand what life stage you're currently at. Broadly, you will identify that there are 4 life stages. First is when you are just starting out. One second. So, there are about 4 life stages. The first is when you're just starting and, you're starting a job, you're new, you're a young adult. And obviously saving is not a priority at this age. The second I call that stage settling down, where you're getting married, you're getting a family. So that's where really your goals will start to take shape. That you want to buy a house, you have a child, you want to save for the child's higher education. Now that settling down stage is where you will see that financial planning will really enter your lives. Yeah. And then there's a third stage, which is the pre-retirement stage, which is actually the best years of your life, because your children are probably settled. You are at the peak of your career. You're doing well. You're financially settled. All your debts are over. And that is the pre-retirement stage. And then there is a retirement stage where, there obviously budgeting becomes important, because you want your entire, whatever money that you have should last your entire lifetime. And therefore budgeting is very important. And again, some sort of planning must be in place. And it should be revisited year on year, so that you are on track with, your corpus. You shouldn't outlive your corpus. You shouldn't outlive your savings. And that's the whole idea of doing this. Yeah. Moving on, the next thing that you must identify is the financial goals. So once you have identified your life stages, that stage that you are at, now every life stage will have different kind of goals attached to it. Yeah. So depending on your life stage, you need to identify your goals. And again, your goal must be specific. It must be measurable. It must be attainable, relevant, and time-based. Yeah. So here, let's try and bring some real life numbers. So I'd request you all to please grab a pen and paper. I will give you maybe a minute. Please grab a pen and paper. And, I'll request you to do this activity right here, because if you don't do it right now, you probably will not. So take that time and make the session more useful for yourself, since you're already spending the time here. On that piece of paper, draw 3 columns. Yeah. The first should be financial goal. The next will be the money you need today to fulfill that goal. So if my daughter, while she's in class 10 and there is about at least 10, 12 years to her marriage, I'd say that, if her marriage was to happen today, then I'll probably land up spending, say, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, whatever it is. I will put that money down. So in today's age, forget about inflation, forget about, later, just put down what is it today. And in how many years do I need to fulfill? So I will put down my daughter's marriage, and then I will put down, say, 40 lakhs. And then I will say probably that, time to the goal is about 10 years. So that is what I want all of you to do. So Asim, here I'll need your help to encourage them to please get a pen and paper. I will give
they
it
would
to
be. I'm sure there are 50 plus people and they are looking at all this.
Yeah.
So for example, Pallavi, now I'm at that age and stage where I am more thinking from retirement point of view, right? As you rightly said that we don't have pensionable jobs and inflation eats away the money and our needs keep on increasing. Some needs go away like child and education, marriage, but the hospital expense will increase, the medicine will increase, the living standard will keep on changing. So if I put a financial goal in terms of that, okay, if I retire in 10 years, I need say 5 lakh per year. I will should increase by 10% every year. So my time to goal in years is 10 years, and then maybe 20 years I need that kind of money. So my financial goal should be what? The corpus should be my financial goal, or
Yes.
the monthly
Yeah,
income
that
my
will be that will be your corpus. The corpus will be your financial goal, and that's because that's the amount of money you need to accumulate. And typically, it would be, your monthly expense multiplied by 200.
Okay.
That should be able to give you, the corpus that you need. Yeah.
Okay.
So I will give out the understanding of the 200 number later. But for now, just understand that if your monthly spend is about 1 lakh, then multiply it by 200. So 2 crores is the corpus you need. So you'll put down retirement, 2 crores and 10 years. That's what you will put down. Yeah. So I put down most of the common ones that, the goals that people have. You may have more goals, you may put them down, but I encourage, if you are here with your spouse, you must try and do this. So I will give it another 1 minute, and I'm waiting for everybody to kind of finish. You can raise your hand so I know, or you may maybe write down in the chat box so I know that, you've been able to do this. So guys, the more interactive we keep the session, the more value I will be able to add here.
Okay, sure. So guys, if you have any question anywhere, please feel free to call, ask. Okay, so one question is simple way is that if I'm 25-year-old, I don't know what financial goal I have. So if I have to add from my side, I think Pallavi mentioned that at a young age, when we are young adults, just job, we don't have financial goals. But these milestones are going to happen: marriage, buying a car, buying a house, children education and all. And the early we start, it's better. So if you don't know your financial goal, I think it's the right time to talk to a financial planner so that you know what your goals are.
Absolutely. So I'm guessing people must have been able to make an exhaustive list of their goals by now. The next thing I want you to do is, go to this. So draw this 9 square matrix on that, on your paper. And you can see that what I have done for you is that, we are trying to segregate your financial goals basis what is a need, what is a want, and what is your dream. Also, we are trying to segregate it ki aapko in what time horizon you need it. So if you need it under 2 years, you want it between 2 to 7 years, or you want it after 7 years. So your retirement will probably come. It is a need and it is after 7 years. So it will come in square 3. Yeah. Like that, I would encourage all of you to please plot your financial goals. Now, this, what we are trying to do is we are trying to prioritize your goals here, so that, whatever, so the amount that you can save towards, or the resources that you have are limited, right? While your dreams may be unlimited, we have limited resources. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to focus on the more important, we are trying to prioritize them in some way, so that we are able to understand how we want to allocate our resources towards saving for these goals. Yeah. And that is what the intent of this exercise is. So if you are able to do that, you would have a better understanding of your life stage. You will have an understanding of your financial goals, and you would have prioritized them basis this 9-square matrix. So you will understand your goals better. Yeah. So there is.
I already got a shocker, because on your calculation, if I say I need after 10 years, I need 5 lakh per month. When I retire, I need bloody hell 10 crore as a corpus, which is the liquid money. Wow.
So yeah, so we need to then segregate and start saving for it, right? So now the next stage, let's move forward. I'm guessing all of you have done this, and so the next
Hello,
stage.
hi
Yes.
Pallavi. Can I ask you a question? Sorry, I'm going back.
Sure.
On the previous slide, where we are writing down our goals and the money needed and time. So suppose, see, I need some money for my children's marriage after 10 years. I know currently, suppose the cost is say coming to around say 20-25 lakh rupees, but after 10 years, that value will become very high.
Absolutely.
The time value of money, 20 lakhs of today may become maybe 1 crore after 10 years or so. So are there any guidelines on calculation of time value of money, or how do you have any tips?
So what I can do for you, Ravi, is that there are many calculators available. Also, if time permits, at the end of this, I will open an Excel sheet and quickly show you how to put the formula to make this.
But
it's
otherwise,
a very easy future value calculation. There's a simple formula available.
Palvi, if you allow me to share, Ravi, there is a thumb rule here, which is called rule of 72. Okay. Rule of 72 is simply, so whatever time period is in your mind, okay? Whatever time is in your mind, and whatever the inflation you feel will be there for coming few years, you can divide that with the number of years. So for example, if you are saying 20 lakh you need today, and you want to know after 10 years how much you need. So, and if you say the inflation is going to be, say, 8%, it means if you divide 72 by 8, it comes 9. It means every 9 years you need double money. So today's 20 lakh will be 40 lakh after 9 years. And maybe after 10 years, it will be around 45 lakh. So you will beat the inflation, and you need 45 lakh for the marriage of your son or daughter after 10 years if you expect to spend 20 years today.
Okay,
it's a thumb rule. It is a great tool. The tool can also be used for finding out how I can, when I invest my money in anything, when it will double. So for example, you have invested money somewhere where you are getting a return of 10%, your money will double. 72 divided by 10, 7.2 years. If your rate of return is 10%, your money will double in 7.2 years. So that way we can calculate.
Okay. Great.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Alternatively, you can use this is equal to FV. Now rate. So you say 6% is the rate of interest that you assume it is. Yeah. So हम सारे यहाँ पे numbers लिख लेते हैं. तो हम कहते हैं कि हमारा inflation is ऐसे 6%, right?
Yeah.
And we say that, I need, you said 20 lakh rupees for your daughter's education. Is that what you said? 20 lakhs?
Yeah,
so
say 20 lakhs.
Yeah, so this is 20 lakhs here. And I say this is equal to FV. It's a simple formula in Excel, okay? And this is the rate I'm picking up. In how many years do you want it? You said 10,
Say
so
10 years. Yeah.
N per is going to be 10. Yeah. PMT up is you can just skip it. And this is the present value. This is the money you need. And that's it. Type nahi dalna, and that is it. So this is going to be about this much money. It's going to be 35 lakhs.
Okay.
Yeah. So at 6%, 35 lakh, just put 8%, Palvi. Let's check the thumb of rule.
Inflation is
43
going.
lakh.
8%, it is 43 lakhs.
43. So I told you around 45 lakh. So rule of thumb, maybe you will not.
Yeah,
need
so the
extra.
rule of thumb 72, it's a fantastic tool. It's a fantastic tool. Yeah. But alternatively, if you want more accurate ones, then
Yes,
you can
yes.
just go here. You can do FV calculation. Yeah, FV is the formula.
Absolutely.
Okay. Great.
So
Thank
I
you.
hope that
Thank
kind
you,
of
Pallavi.
helped.
Thank you, Asim sir. Yeah.
So I will go back to the presentation. Okay, I don't know how we go back to the. So now you'll. Okay.
You have to cut this. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now the next thing you will do is you will plot your goals here, and this prioritizing your goals is very important and a very crucial aspect of financial planning. The next is, and now you will understand why. The next is investment planning. You can move to this step only after you have been able to prioritize your goals and you understand them in terms of short term, medium term, and long term. So any goal for which you need money in the next 7 days to 24 months, it is short. For any goal that you need money from 24 months to 7 years, it is medium-term goal, and anything beyond 7 years is a long-term goal. Now, corresponding to that, on the right side, you can see the various instruments that are available in the market to save up for these goals. Yeah. Now, these are your options where you can save up for all of them. Mutual funds is common in all, because that's a category that those are specific funds. I mean, there'll be different schemes for different goals, but yeah, as a category, as a class, yeah, mutual funds are available, right? So you can see, and these are very common ones. Fixed deposits, I'm sure all of you know, your post office time deposits, your national savings certificates, recurring deposits, saving account. I'm sure all of you already know about most of these. So if you have any questions around it, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will move forward. Now, when you are finalizing कि आप किस goal के लिए कहाँ पे save करेंगे, I recommend you to follow these 6 parameters. You should keep these 6 parameters in mind. First is liquidity. How liquid is this instrument where you are saving your money? Yeah, will you be able to withdraw if you need the money? Second is inflation. Will this instrument be able to beat the rate of inflation for you? Yeah, so you're putting in money, and if inflation rate is higher, then you are actually corroding your money. The next is flexibility, because it allows you to change gear midway. So is this investment flexible, or are you stuck with it? Yeah. The next is your taxation aspect of that instrument. What is the kind of tax that this instrument is going to attract? Then what is the kind of investment amount that I am required to pay for this? Yeah, and some of them may be very heavy investments. So you should be cognizant as to how much you will have to spend, when you will have to spend, and so on and so forth. And then obviously the risk appetite part of it. Now, some of us are more, are more comfortable with the market volatilities, and others are not. And I'd recommend that you understand your risk appetite before you get into any investment. So if you want, I'd be happy to, so you can just drop me an email or leave your email in the chat box. My number is there in my thing. You can kind of take it down from there and message me your email address, and I will be happy to get my team to connect with you to run a risk appetite questionnaire for you. So then they will tell you what is your risk appetite. Yeah.
Pallavi, can I add a little my insight here?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
Now, guys, because I worked a few years in Max New York Life, and I got introduced to various concepts while I was trying to sell life insurance there for sure. But the one thing which I would like to add here is about liquidity. Okay. Now, many times we lock in our investments in such a way that we don't have liquidity. For example, many people buy a flat or a house or a land, piece of land, thinking that I'm going to use this when I need money in future. Now, suppose you have bought a flat worth 50 lakh rupees, and when you are trying to sell it, it depends on market, number one. Anyway, all investments depend on market, which can give us high return. But it is a total lock-in of the total amount. So it is very important that you should keep your investment in different buckets. The way Pallavi asked you to make your needs in future, emergency fund, children marriage, children education. तो पुराने जमाने में कहते थे ना, हर investment की हांडी अलग होनी चाहिए, right? And liquidity होनी चाहिए उसमें. So for example, your flat is 50 lakh and you need now 15 lakh. You won't be able to sell part of your flat. Okay, your whole investment needs to be needs to be sold to get that 15 lakh, and then your whole thing. So it's very important whenever you're investing, think about time horizon and think about the liquidity of that instrument. Okay, like mutual funds have great liquidity today, so you should consider liquidity. And we also talked about inflation already. Keep these two in mind always. Thank you, Pallavi.
Absolutely, Aseem. And in fact, apart from real estate, I have the same problem with NPS also, the new pension scheme that is there. It has a similar issue that, it will not give you your money back. You will only get pension from it. So that's the exact same
and the
discussion
rate of interest is so less in pension scheme
Yes.
that it will never beat inflation.
Absolutely. So, now after, this is somewhat what your matrix should look like. And, this is a kind of representation of when you are evaluating, this is what your evaluation matrix should look like. Yeah. That, okay, fine, this instrument I can, and it is obviously to do with for which goal you are saving. How do these 6 parameters fit in? Yeah, and this is how your evaluation will look, and then you will pick up the one that most agrees with that particular goal. Yeah, so this is how investment planning will get done, and that is when you will choose that is how you will choose the investment vehicle that you want to park your money in. Now, moving on, here I'd like to introduce to you a very important distinction between debt and equity. So now, whenever you're thinking of investing in any financial product, you will have only 3 options. 1, you invest in debt. 2, you invest in equity. 3, you invest in a scheme that is a mix of the 2. Yeah. So really all financial products are made of only this. Now, there's a very important distinction between debt and equity. So, for instance, there is a businessman, yeah, and he's trying to raise capital in his company. Now he has 2 options. He can either take a loan by offering a debenture or a bond from his company and say that, okay, fine, you give me this much money, I will give you this interest. Yeah. Now, in this form, the interest is payable. So if you are getting into debt, interest is payable to you, your principal is secure, and you will get a certain fixed amount. Yeah. So that is debt, and you will get income in the form of interest. Equity, on the other hand, he can offer equity saying, you take part ownership in my company, be an owner with me. So if there is profit, I will give you a dividend. If there is no profit, there is no dividend. And then there is obviously growth that will happen in the stock itself. Yeah. So these are the 2 ways or places where people invest money. Now, there was equity earlier, there were only shares available. Now a lot of innovation has actually happened. So let me cover both of these for you in greater detail. So debt tools, like I said, it is going to be a fixed income kind of a product. Now, can you give me the name of the most commonly used debt instrument? Most commonly used. Everybody has it. Even kids, some of the kids also have it. Can you give me an example, like the most commonly used?
Saving account. Term deposits.
Your savings bank account. Everybody has a savings bank account. Yeah, and it is a debt product. It gives you a certain interest, fixed interest. Yeah. So yes. So it will have a fixed tenure. So there are 2 things that will come when you invest in debt. 1, there will be a fixed tenure. 2, there will be a fixed interest rate. Yeah. Yes, there are floating interest rates also available now, but I mean, we follow the Lakir ka Fakir, then that is typically what it is. कि भाई हमारा ये उधारी का contract है और हम इतने दिन में आपकी उधारी वापस करेंगे और इतने इंटरेस्ट के साथ वापस करेंगे. This is typically what debt is. Yeah. So therefore, it will have lower volatility. It will be highly liquid. And some of the schemes may not be as liquid, like PPF will have a lock-in of about 15 years, NSC about 4 years. But yeah, typically your post office schemes, your Sukanna Samriddhi Yojana, your National Savings Certificate, all of them will form part of debt. Yeah. And then there are obviously debt mutual fund schemes available also. I will be talking about mutual fund schemes in greater detail just in a bit. Yeah. So that is what debt is. Equity, on the other hand, is a more volatile, environment. Only because, there is no fixed income that is going to come to you. It will depend on the profits of the company. So you may make a dividend, you may not make a dividend. Dividend is the income that you will make when you are investing in equity, and the growth of it is the additional. So the growth in the share price is the additional growth that you make on it, right? Now, typically, for time, since time, our bachpan se main dekhti aa rahi hu, people used to invest in shares. Yeah. Well, there has been a lot of innovation in the space now, and we have mutual fund schemes by asset management companies, and we have ULIP policies by life insurance companies that also participate in equity. So now there are 3 ways of participating in the equity markets. Yeah. But again, before you invest in equity, you have to understand that while it has the potential to beat inflation, but it also has the potential to corrode your principal. So you have to understand your risk appetite before you start investing in equity. Yeah. Moving on, let me introduce mutual fund schemes to you. Now, we would have heard of a lot of people who lost out money in the equity market, right? In fact, 90% people lose out money in the equity market. The reason is that they don't understand equity as such. So what they said was, okay, since people don't understand equity, why don't we have professional people manage this equity? So now mutual fund scheme is nothing, but it is a pool of funds that people have created. Yeah. Now there is a professional manager. He says, okay, you know what? I am going to start a fund, and whoever wants to invest can come and invest here with me, and I will manage this fund. Yeah. Now, when he is announcing this, he's also announcing what is the purpose of this fund, or what is the objective of this fund. So for instance, there is a manager, he says, okay, you know what, I'm going to be investing in the large companies or the bigger stocks of this country. I'm going to be investing in those and making money out of it. Yeah. So he starts out, or say, Axis Blue Chip Fund. Yeah. Now Axis Blue Chip means larger companies. So Axis Blue Chip Fund, Axis is the asset management company, right? Blue chip is the kind of fund or the investment objective of that fund. Now it is going to invest in blue chip companies. Now anybody, now my choice is कि मैं जाके ये blue chip stocks अलग से individually I can buy in my portfolio, or I can let this guy buy it for me. The advantage of going with a mutual fund scheme is that I have a very low cost. So by giving just 500 rupees also, I'm getting exposure to about 25-30 stocks. Yeah. They are tax efficient. Yeah. There is liquidity. Whenever I want, I can exit. There is a huge amount of transparency in this. And it's a very convenient option. Now, how these mutual fund schemes are segregated basis their various, so this is a classification that I've created. This is not a SEBI classification. SEBI has a slightly different classification, but I created this because it just makes me easy for people to help people understand how mutual fund schemes work. So one, there is going to be a structure. So it could be an open-ended scheme, or it will be a closed-ended scheme. So like, you will typically see these FMPs used to come, or, the value series jo aati hai. It's a closed-ended scheme. It will say, okay, fine, from this date to this date, you can invest in it. And this is the yeah. Then there are open-ended schemes. Mostly schemes are open-ended. There are very few closed-ended schemes that come out, and those offers keep coming. Yeah, then depending on where this fund is going to invest, is it going to invest in equity markets? Is it going to invest in debt markets? Now, debt, like I explained, is the market of bonds, debentures. That is the market that debt market is. Okay. And then there is a hybrid. So there will be probably funds that will invest in equity and debt both. So for hybrids, if you have a fund that is more skewed to equity, it will become an equity oriented hybrid. And if there is a fund that is investing more to debt, then it will become a debt oriented hybrid. Now, depending again on your investment horizon, on your kind of goal, you will choose where you will invest in. Your equity funds, again, depending on the market capitalization of the company, the equity fund could be a large cap fund, जो बड़ी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है. It could be a small cap or a mid cap fund जो कि छोटी कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है. Now, so say if I take an example of a large cap company, so say there is Reliance. Now, what is the chance that Reliance will go defunct overnight? Very little chance, right? बड़ा जहाज है, डूबते डूबते टाइम लगेगा. So therefore, if I want to pull my money out, I will be able to. I will have enough time. I will get to know there are rumors in the market. So therefore, a large cap is a secure stock. It will grow slow. It will give you a steady growth, and there is less volatility in that stock. Yeah, but again, the growth potential is lower. Now, if there is a smaller company, say, I say Jhunjhunwala and Sons. Now, this Jhunjhunwala and Sons may grow to 10x its size in market capitalization in a small span of 5 years also. Yeah, because there is potential to grow. Now, there is a possibility that it could go defunct also. So, therefore, there is higher risk. So, smaller and mid caps will always carry higher risk, but then they will also carry higher potential to grow. Now, don't worry about Jhunjhunwala and Company because that's just an example I took. But typically, the stocks that your fund manager is going to choose is going to have a certain sort of a listing, and there is a proper criteria to be able to choose. So none of the junk stocks can actually be picked by mutual fund schemes. So they will not be investing your money in junk stocks. They will always be like proper small cap and mid cap companies. They are proper good companies that people are picking monies. Now, depending also, this classification can be done in terms of sectors and themes. So, for instance, there could be a healthcare fund, there could be a pharmaceutical fund, or there could be a India growth fund, or a value discovery fund. So that's a theme. कि भाई इसमें value है, या कोई हमने इंडिया ग्रोथ किया तो भैया इंडिया की ग्रोथ में कौन से पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं, उसमें वैल्यू है. So it could be a theme-based fund. It could be a sector-based fund. For instance, the pharmaceutical funds obviously skyrocketed during the COVID times. Yeah, so this is the classification of equity funds. Likewise, there is a classification for debt funds. Again, depending on if you want to invest for a very short horizon, you want to invest for say 2 days, 3 days. So then you will be investing in liquid funds. If you want to invest in a slightly longer time, say 2 months, 3 months. So there are short term, there are ultra short, there are long term bond funds available. Now, depending on what your investment horizon is, what goal you are saving for, you are going to have this. Now, again, I'd like to remind you that any one goal, you will not have one investment vehicle. It will always be a portfolio. So even for any midterm goal, so say for your daughter's marriage, you will not invest all your money in one fund. You will have a portfolio of funds that you must be investing in. Yeah. And it will depend on, and the portfolio will be chosen like this. Yeah. So with that, now.
Just hold on. Pallavi, there is a question by Vikram. Go to previous slide. Vikram, please ask your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. See, my question was just a basic question. I was saying that, Pallavi, you mentioned that, the small caps and the micro caps will have a higher risk, and a large cap does not have a risk, or a medium cap has a medium risk. Now, if there are companies which are professionally managed, they may not be in that category. Do we still consider that a small cap will have a higher risk?
So
Suppose it's a professionally managed company which is not in size as good, and there
risk
could be
to
large
large,
companies who are not managed well. So, is that a rule which is applicable across to say that in terms of risk?
okay, Vikram, what I'm really trying, the point that I'm trying to make is that not that large caps won't have risk. Large caps may also have a risk. The point that I'm trying to make is that your investment horizon decides how much money you can allocate. Yeah.
Okay.
Even large caps, equity per se has risk.
Okay.
Equity is a volatile market.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
You're getting it. In fact, debt also has risk. So there is nothing. If somebody is telling you debt is risk free, debt is also not.
No, the point is this: should we say that a smaller cap, or should we invest on that basis? Is that a correct way, or there are some exceptions, or it may not be the case? What is your call, since you would have experienced mutual funds?
Pallavi, hold on. I add another question to that so that you can answer both, because that was in my thoughts also. Now, this is a very good slide. It gives us very clear idea about various type of funds, and where we invest. These bankers or investment people tell us about this. We don't know, but today we know. Now, is there a connection between investment horizon and choosing the fund?
Yes. You cannot invest. So if you want also, let me give you a एकदम शुरू से शुरू अगर छोटी कंपनी है उसे ग्रो करना है तो उसे ग्रोथ के लिए हमें टाइम तो देना पड़ेगा ना सो अगर आपका होराइजन ही से 4 साल का है और आप स्मॉल कैप का वो लेके बैठ गए हो and not to say that it will not grow. It is possible that it will grow, like the mutual fund growth also in the sector wise it is also cyclical. So right now there is talk about the mid caps and small caps being in the flavor and the large cap flavor being over. There is also that talk right now. Yeah, so this is cyclical also, but broadly you have to have that time horizon कि इतना टाइम तो मुझे देना पड़ेगा ना इस स्टॉक को ग्रो करने के लिए, उस कंपनी को बड़ा होने के लिए मुझे टाइम तो देना पड़ेगा ना, अगर मैंने आज वो कंपनी अभी छोटी है. Yeah. So that is why. So if you do not even think of putting your finger to a mid or small cap if you do not have a horizon of more than 7-8 years.
Okay, can I put, Pallavi, thanks for the answer. Just a small another point to it. Can I put it this way? Suppose I want to invest in an aggressive portfolio, aggressive mutual fund, right? So how do I analyze which one is a aggressive portfolio? So, okay, I've seen sites like ET and, they will money control, and so many sites are there which will give that, the variations in returns. There are so many things that they analyze, the risk factor and all. But generally to speak, suppose I want to invest in an aggressive mutual fund. So should I go by that I should invest in a mutual fund of a small cap, or is there some other way that I want a higher return? Let's say my objective is higher return. It may not be high risk, and higher return may go with, the higher risk. So how do I choose that? So if you're covering it later, you can do it later also. I don't mind.
Yeah.
The question was
I would like to take this question for sure. Please understand that what is the basis or premise of deciding कि आपको ये क्यों चाहिए? Because that also forms a part of risk appetite or risk, tolerance that I may say.
That could be say that someone is working and he has some other returns coming in, and then he says, I can take that risk. So it's his call to say that I want to take a higher risk. That's the point.
Okay. So now, it will depend on, so that is going to be a one-to-one conversation where you decide. So it's not necessary कि आपका small or mid cap में ही risk है.
Okay.
Risk आपका thematic funds में भी है, sectoral funds में भी है. You may want to choose I know that, pharmaceuticals have given return, but I also know that pharmaceuticals are going to give more return.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I may be willing to invest in that sector. So that will depend on after we have a detailed.
So we'll have to do a little more research and then understand.
There's
got it.
Research that is required.
Got it.
Also, when you are doing goal-based, there are two things. I spoke about risk appetite, and thank you, Vikram, that you got this up. So now I remember that I forgot to talk about risk tolerance. So there are two things. One is risk appetite and one is risk tolerance. So while I may have an aggressive risk appetite, I may be an aggressive investor, but my tolerance with regards to the money that I have kept for my daughter's higher education, which is due in 3 years from now, is zero.
Absolutely, nice point. Thank you. Yeah, that's a nice
I
one.
will not budge and put that money anywhere else, right? I may not be willing to take any risk. So
yeah, so just to add what Pallavi said, now I have been using SIP and mutual fund for my son's education, his fees and everything. And you know what I used to do when I know that there is another year, this time period is there, I have to put money. I used to shift that fund from hybrid or equity funds to debt funds. Okay, so that I know I need this money next year. I don't have tolerance to go up and down. And sometimes
Asim, I will be covering a lot of this when I come to the financial plan part of it. We are running out of time. I can
let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah.
So Pallavi, just one question from my side. So what is the difference between a multi-cap and a flexi-cap?
A flexi cap, they are very similar. They're very similar. Flexi cap and multi cap, they are similar funds. Yeah.
Okay.
ये सारी SEBI की अभी created classifications है. For you, you must understand कि ये invest माल अंदर क्या पड़ा हुआ है. Don't go by what the name of the fund is. Go by अंदर माल क्या पड़ा है.
Because the same AMC is already have a flexi cap and then they are launching multi-cap. So primarily from that perspective.
So what you must look at is कि इसने stock क्या उठाया हुआ है. इसका investment कितना कहाँ पर है ना. Debt में है तो इसने क्या उठाया हुआ है. इसने अंदर माल क्या डाला हुआ है. So
Pallavi, can I answer that question?
Yeah, please, Asim.
Okay, so in multi-caps, you have a fixed allocation of large, mid and small cap. So multi-cap fund में 25% अगर large है, 25% mid होगा, 25% small होगा. In flexi, they can vary. They can be 35, 45, 50. So they can put, the fund manager can take the allocation as per his convenience. These are as per the SEBI laws, which has just come in.
Yeah. Flexi cap is more flexible, you mean to say, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So that is Asim Janeja. He's my partner. So ये मेरे वाला Asim है.
Hi everyone.
Okay.
No, thank you very much. Thanks, Pallavi. We can continue.
Sure.
Let's move forward. And now, planning for your goals. The best way is to take a systematic plan. Now, when I say systematic, I think there is some noise. Can we mute Asim?
Yeah, I did.
Thank you. So, the best way is a systematic plan. Now, why I say so is because it will give you rupee cost averaging. It will give you the power of compounding. Yes. And, it is very disciplined. Now, for instance, if you ask me to put in 60,000 rupees, I'm going to think twice. But if you ask me to put in 5,000 rupees a month, it's going to be easier. Yeah. And in fact, I may be able to put in actually 10,000 rupees a month. Yeah, so then I'm making my investment from where I was thinking कि 60,000 करूँ या नहीं करूँ to actually 1,20,000 I'm saving in 1 year. Yeah, so your investments in equity should always be systematic. Your exit from equity should be systematic, and your entry into equity should always be systematic. Now there are two ways of doing this. One is that you go through a systematic investment plan, which will, tap into your savings account every month, and it will take the, money from your account every month. Alternatively, a lot of businessmen come to me and say, Pallavi, yaar, मैं ना हर महीने का तुमको commit नहीं कर सकता. I can give you one go में. Yeah. So it's not like you cannot invest in equity. You can invest in equity and you can still follow a systematic route. The only route that you will follow will be called systematic transfer, which means that you are going to put this lump sum money in one corpus or a holding fund, and from there this money will start getting transferred to equity. Yeah, it will get held in a debt fund, and from that fund every week you can set this transfer up. So in fact, you will get a better rupee cost averaging because you will be doing it every week. So, but again, the rule of thumb is that do not enter equity markets in one go, even if it is at the low, because you never know where the real low is, right? So always enter equity in a systematic phased manner. 2 लाख रुपए लगाना है 6 महीने में लगाओ, ठीक है, उसको फंड में डाल दो, फंड से बोलो कि मेरा वीकली ट्रांसफर सेटअप कर दो, मेरा 20 हफ्ते में जाने दो, मेरा 10 हफ्ते में जाने दो, बट डू दैट through a systematic plan. It is always advisable to do that. Yeah. Because it is a process oriented approach and fixed amount will go at irrespective of the market levels. And that is what really systematic investments is. Yeah. Now, here is an example that I have created for you. So say, there is Arjun and there is Radhika. So Arjun is say 25. So we had some 125 here. And there is Radhika. Who's 35. Now both start saving 10,000 rupees a month. दोनों 25 साल तक सेव करते हैं. So Arjun saves till his age 50 and Radhika saves till age 60. Now 10 years के लिए Arjun gets a break. He doesn't have to save for the last 10 years. So both have saved for 25 years. Both have saved 30 lakhs. At an 8% interest, the corpus look at the difference in corpus at the age of 60. Now this has happened 91 lakhs. It would have been 91 lakhs for Arjun also, only he has left it to grow for 10 years. So the money has become 2 crores. Now a little change in interest or a little, extra investment planning. From 91 lakhs, the money saved is 1.7 crores. From 2 crores, it is 5.3 crores. Yeah. At 14%, this figure is going to look closer to this. 8.69 crores and 2.35 crores. Now, this is also a factor of risk, like we were talking. What is the amount of risk that you are willing to take in your portfolio? And talking of risk, there is not just one risk that is there in a portfolio. There are many other risks. So let's talk about those risks also. The other risks are the real risks that are actually potential risks to your lives also, right? So there is a risk of falling sick. That is, again, these are things that will corrode your portfolio. The risk of a critical illness, or risk of dying too soon, risk of living too long, that you outlive your retirement corpus. That's a risk also, right? You don't want to depend on people. Car accident ho gaya, disability ho gayi. These are all risks. These are real risks. And that is where your risk planning comes in. I will not be talking about the tax planning aspect here because I was told that, there are people from various countries that may have joined. So, it will become irrelevant and most of you will obviously be aware. And if you want, you can please feel free to connect with me and we can talk about the tax planning aspect. So these are the possible risks that you must identify in your portfolio, and corresponding to these risks and how you mitigate this risk is through insurance. How you mitigate the risk here in your portfolio is through a proper portfolio planning or investment planning. How you mitigate these risks is through insurance. Now, what are the possible? So one other risk that exists in today's day and age, and I had spoken about this earlier in my session also, is emergency fund. Again, it's time for you to pull out that pen and paper and starting from household expenses, going all the way to personal loans and any other, please put down your monthly spends on under each of these heads. If you have any extra heads, please put that down also. Can I please request the audience, all of you, to please take this time and put down your monthly expense under each of these heads. Yeah, I'm giving you like 1 minute to do this.
It could be rent or it could be an EMI, right?
Yeah, it could be anything. Yeah. Any monthly spend that you are making, and I'm setting up a timer here for 1 minute. I'm giving you exactly 1 minute. You can see I'm giving you exactly 1 minute. Please do this. And once you've written it down, multiply it by 8. You have 20 seconds to go. Ten seconds. You should be multiplying it by 8 now. Okay, so the time is up. Now, what you have just calculated is the amount that you should keep aside anywhere in a secure place. You could make an FD out of it. You could put it in a liquid mutual fund scheme. You could put it in your savings bank account, but put it somewhere and forget about it. This amount of money should be there for you to address any contingency that you may reach in your life, that may arise in your life. And I think the meaning of contingency, China has taught us all very well in the last 3 years. I don't think we need to understand better. COVID has kind of totally explained what a contingency is. But this is very important that you have this money. Yeah. And so this is again a part of risk planning. As far as insurance goes, these are the various protection covers that you must carry. I will be talking in detail about life insurance and health insurance. Well, there is cancer insurance available, there's personal accident policy available, there is disability policy available, there is critical illness policy available, there are home insurances available, your car insurance. All of those should also form part because these are the ones that will secure your portfolio from your wealth from getting corroded. Yeah. Let's talk in greater detail about life insurance and health insurance, because those are the ones that kind of people really get confused with. The others people don't know about, so I'm not talking about them. But if you do want to discuss, please feel free to reach out. Yeah. Now, life insurance, जब आप खरीदते हैं, life insurance policy, typically ये 5 तरह की आती है. Yeah. Now, first is the term insurance, which I think all of us understand. कि हमने पैसा दिया, अगर मर गए तो मेरी फैमिली को पैसा मिलेगा, अगर जी गए तो कुछ नहीं. Yeah. So that is a term insurance policy. Now, then, apart from this insurance ka paisa, if I give the company extra money to invest for me also, then depending on if the company is investing it in a debt portfolio, like a AAA rated bond, government security kind of portfolio, it will become an endowment plan. Yeah, which is what LIC offers mostly. Yeah, where you will have guaranteed plans from life insurance companies. That is where those endowment plans are. The next will be a ULIP plan. So now if this money is getting invested into equity markets like a mutual fund, then it will be a ULIP. So now you would have heard a lot of people say, sir, ye mutual fund scheme hai, isme insurance free hai. Please understand, he is selling you a ULIP. Yeah. ULIP, when you compare it to mutual fund schemes, it will have much higher charges. So ULIP alone or a mutual fund plus term insurance, you'll end up paying higher charges in ULIPs. Yeah. But now those charges are capped. So sometimes a ULIP may be a good option. So it will again depend on what is the goal that you're saving for and what is the scheme available. Yeah. Now, depending on the term of the policy, it could also last you a whole life. So there are plans available till the age of 100. So it becomes a whole life. Now there are ULIP whole lives available also, and there are endowment whole lives available also. Yeah, and there are term whole lives available also. A whole life term is also available. कि आपका 100 years तक term last करेगा. अभी 85 तक mostly companies offer करती है, but there are some that offer 300 also. Yeah. Now, if the money is coming back to you in the form of income, say on a periodic basis, say every 5 years the money is coming back to you, or say you are paying for 10 years and then 11 chhod karke, uske baad there is an income for 15 years, 20 years. These are all called money back plans. Yeah. So this is the characterization of most insurance policies. What I very, very highly promote is a term insurance cover. That's a must and have and a must do for all of you. Again, the rule of thumb is under the age of 40, have about 15 to 20 times your CTC as coverage. Between the age of 40 to 50, have about 10 times your CTC as coverage. And above the age of 50, mostly, people have addressed their financial needs by then, their goals and all of those are addressed. But agar nahi hai, then you may have up to 5 times your CTC as coverage. Yeah, that is the rule of thumb that you must follow, that this much coverage you must have. If you don't have this much, then you are probably, so this is called income based or, a kind of calculation. There is also a need based calculation wherein we analyze all the possible needs कि भैया आपके ये goals है, इसके लिए इतना पैसा चाहिए रहेगा, तो आपकी need क्या है, how much insurance should you carry. And I'd be happy to do that analysis for you. If you want, please just reach out to me. You can see my number on the screen already. Yeah. Now, moving on to health insurance schemes. Now, health insurance, there is a myth. I think Asim ne bhi abhi iske bare mein, he had spoken about this, that, there is standalone health insurance policies that are available and there are group policies that are available. Now, people say ki bhai, Pallavi, I am covered by my corporate and I have a very good coverage. I have a very good policy. Why should I take a health insurance cover separately and pay for it? The reason is that you need to have, so insurance has to be bought when you don't need it, so that you have it when you need it. Yeah, that is the biggest reason why you will need this. Because by the time you retire, by the time you quit your job, there's a possibility that you would have, contracted some disease and you could be uninsurable. Yeah, 1. 2, you may not get that cover. So that is the real reason that you need to have this. 2, if you are in between jobs and you do not have a cover, then what? Just 1 second. Yeah. So, there is, so you need to have this cover. You need to have apart from group insurance, you need to carry insurance cover for your own family also. Yeah. Yes, there are people that say that, but I could convert my group cover to an individual policy. Yes, you could do that, but it will warrant a lot of insurance. It would warrant a higher premium from you. Yeah, so that is one reason why you must carry. In fact, agar group cover hai to bahut achhi baat hai. Take the cheapest possible health insurance cover with maximum waiting periods. I will be discussing waiting periods. Take the cheapest possible health insurance cover with maximum waiting periods and carry that policy. But carry your personal insurance on yourself. It is a must. Now, let me take you to, a lot of people don't understand health insurance policies, and that is the reason they don't buy health insurance policies. They say, ki Pallavi, claim to decline nahi hona hai. Now, let me explain this to you, ki what is really a health insurance policy. And I will request all of you to please pay attention to this part, because this will help you, in a lot of ways, and this will help you understand what health insurance is and what is really covered by health insurance. So that even if your agent is telling you, sir, ye covered hai, you can tell him ki bhaiya ye definition hi nahi cover karti, ye nahi covered hoega. Or at least you will know ki kahan pe aapka claim hospital company mana karne wali hai. Yeah. So this is the definition of health insurance. It will cover the cost of treatment of any illness, injury or disease, any illness, injury or disease which requires hospitalization for more than 24 hours. Yeah. If it does not require hospitalization for more than 24 hours, it will not get covered. So for instance, if I am going out and I slip from the staircase and I break my arm and I go to the hospital, they do a cast for me and I come back within 4 hours, do you think my health insurance company will cover it? No, it will not get covered. Yeah. Then there is a small asterisk over here that you can see. What is this about? What is this asterisk about? This asterisk says, except in those cases where due to medical technology advancement, something which was being done in more than 24 hours earlier can now be done in less than 24 hours, which is daycare. So for instance, हमारा cataract का operation, पहले it used to take 2 days. I remember my dadi was admitted for about 2 to 3 nights in the hospital for her cataract surgery. Yeah, so that now it will be covered because earlier it was being done in more than 24 hours. There is medical technology advancement which causes it to get done in under 24 hours. Yeah, so that is why the daycare procedure will get covered. Yeah. So I hope this kind of makes it clear. So cost of treatment of any illness, injury or disease which requires hospitalization for more than 24 hours. Now the next complication jo aati hai, that is the waiting periods. Now please pay attention to the waiting periods. एक waiting period होता है which is the initial waiting period, which is typically about 30 days in every policy depending from insurer to insurer. It may change a little, but it is about 30 days. Yeah. And this is only the first time you're buying a policy that this will be there, and it will not cover anything but accident. Yeah, so for the first 30 days, nothing but an accident is covered. Then there is a specific disease waiting period. So there is going to be a list. There's going to be an exhaustive list of what are those specific diseases that are not covered. And depending from insurer to insurer, the waiting period for this specific disease could be 1 year, 2 years, maybe less. There are very innovative products that are coming, jo sab kuch day one se cover karte hain. So obviously, there are no free lunches. The lesser the waiting period, the higher the premium. Yeah.
Yeah, Pallavi, Bhushan this side. Sorry to interrupt you. Hitesh has some query. He has raised his hand. Can we listen him?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Pallavi, so my question was that you mentioned that all the diseases are covered, but in one of the previous slides you mentioned there is a separate cancer insurance. So how these two things correlate? As in, cancer is not covered in health insurance, or yeah?
So cancer policy is a separate policy. Since you have raised it, I will talk about it. Let me complete health insurance and I will talk about cancer. Health insurance will cover every kind of disease, cancer, heart, sab kuch covered hota hai. But only the cost of hospitalization is covered. Yeah. What a cancer policy is a separate thing. I will talk about it in just a bit. Okay. After I complete this, I will talk about that product. It's a separate product. Yeah. Health insurance will cover the cost of hospitalization. अभी वो कैंसर से आया, वो किसी से हार्ट से आया, वो किडनी से आया, वो किसी भी चीज से आया, cost of hospitalization will get covered. Yeah. Now let me cover the waiting periods here. So I told you the first waiting period in every health insurance policy is a 30-day waiting period, which is the initial waiting period. Then there is a pre-existing disease waiting period. इसकी एक लिस्ट होती है, कैटरैक्ट, हर्निया, ये सारी चीजें जो कि नहीं कवर्ड होंगी पहले 2 साल में या पहला 1 साल में, डिपेंडिंग फ्रॉम इंश्योरर टू इंश्योरर. Now this third waiting period is the most tricky waiting period, and this is where you will see maximum claims will get declined. Now what is this? It says pre-existing disease. Please read the definition of pre-existing disease and you will understand why claims get declined. Any sign or symptom for which you may or may not have taken medical advice or treatment. Hospitalization due to that or its complication will not be covered during the waiting period. And this waiting period is typically kabhi 4 years, kabhi 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, depending from insurer to insurer. But it could go up to 4 years also. Now imagine, I take a health insurance policy and I go to the doctor and 2 years. So I have a waiting period of 3 years in my policy. And I go to the doctor saying, my chest is hurting me a lot. I was at the gym and it has just suddenly started hurting me. And then the doctor says, okay, Pallavi, mere ko 2 saal hue policy liye abhi, huh? And he says, okay, Pallavi, tell me something. ये तुमको ये जो तकलीफ है ये तुम्हें कब से है? ऐसे ये जो है 2.5-3 साल हो गया. अभी 2.5-3 साल उसने लिख दिया, तो दिस मींस दिस इज अ प्री एग्जिस्टिंग डिजीज. जब मैंने ये खरीदी थी पॉलिसी तो ये प्री एग्जिस्टिंग सिम्टम था. मुझने पूछा पहली बार सिम्टम कब आया था, मैंने कहा 2.5 साल पहले आया था। हाँ, 2 साल पहले मैंने पॉलिसी खरीदी है, 2.5 साल पहले मुझे पहला सिम्टम आया था। या एंड ही सेज कि ओके तुमने कुछ किया था? मैंने कहा नहीं, मैंने कुछ नहीं किया, मुझे उस समय लगा पर कुछ हुआ नहीं तो मैंने कुछ किया नहीं। आई एम फाइन आफ्टर दैट। नाउ देयर इज अ हार्ट अटैक and I get admitted. You think it is going to get covered? It will not get covered. Why? Because my initial paper, hospitalization paper, says that this existed 2.5 years back. The first symptom had come then. It very clearly says sign or symptom, taken medical advice treatment or not, may or may not have taken. It clearly says it, so it will not get covered. Yeah. So please, when you are buying your health insurance policy, make sure that you make adequate disclosures. Your disclosures are correct and precise, and make sure that they are in line with what you are telling the doctor when you are getting hospitalized. So you cannot tell the insurance company that, oh, you know what, I have had this problem for only 1 year, and tell the doctor that I've had the problem for 2 years. You cannot have a mismatch of statement over there. That is where your claim will get declined. Now, how much health insurance coverage must you carry? Very simple. Think of the top 3 diseases that come to your head. Abhi, write them down on that paper. लिखिए, जैसे मेरे दिमाग में ना 3 चीजें आती हैं। एक मेरे दिमाग में कैंसर आता है, एक मेरे दिमाग में किडनी आती है। Both my parents died of a kidney failure. So मेरे दिमाग में obviously किडनी आती है, और मेरे दिमाग में हार्ट आता है। मेरे दिमाग में ये 3 बीमारियां आती हैं। Now, what is the approximate cost of treatment of these बीमारीज? So for cancer, it could be anywhere from 10 lakhs to 40 lakhs. So I'll say 40 lakhs. For kidney disease, I know it takes about 15 lakhs or so. So I'll say 15 lakhs. So 40 plus 15 is 55 lakhs. And I say that, you know, your heart disease may get again treated in the next 15 lakhs. So 15 lakh ho to 60 lakh rupiya hua total, right? Now 3 diseases थी, तो इसको मैं divide simple average दूंगी, which makes it 20 lakhs. So now I need to have a cover of 20 lakhs at least. That is how you calculate the health insurance. Now I am a family of 3, so I need to have 60 lakh coverage. 20, 20, 20, I need to have a 60 lakh coverage. Now you will say, Pallavi, 60 lakhs of coverage for health insurance. Well, there are ways to bring down the premium, but you need to have, by the way, my family is covered for more than 1 crore. And that is the reason is not that ye 60 lakh abhi chahiye. Please understand, I will not fall sick now. I will fall sick when I have turned more than 60 years. And can you imagine at an 18% inflation rate in medical, which is currently going on in the hospitals, where the cost of treatment is going to go? You know, 20 lakh bills were unheard of, but these are very common in today's COVID era. So you need to have adequate coverage. If you do not have adequate coverage, you will be in a bigger soup. It will corrode all your wealth. So that is the amount of coverage that you must carry. Now,
Pallavi, just one thing, when you're talking about coverage, so maybe, you know, it would be a good idea. I don't know if you're covering or not, but guys, today, there are 2 kinds of medical policies. One is the base policy and second is called super top.
Yes.
Right? So you can, it's very economical. So for example, if you take a base policy of say 20 lakh, and it's a 20 lakh floater, which means any family can use it, member can use it in need sizes. You can take a 80 lakh super top up on that, which will cost you 6,000-7,000 rupees per year, which means when the 20 lakh is consumed, God forbid, that super top up will come into picture. So that your total coverage of 1 crore, you don't need to pay 1 lakh rupee premium annual. You need to pay the base premium for a 40 years of age. Maybe it will be, Pallavi would know, around 25,000 rupees a year for a family floater of 20 lakh. And super top up of 80 lakh would be another 6,000-7,000, which means in around 31,000 rupees, you will get 1 crore coverage. And
And the reason why your super top-up policy is that cheap is because it comes with a deductible. So
Yeah.
what it means is that deductible का मतलब ये होता है कि भाई पहला 20 लाख या पहला 10 लाख रुपए ये पॉलिसी से आप क्लेम नहीं कर सकते, तो वो आप अपनी बेस पॉलिसी से क्लेम करते हो. Yeah, and that is what I meant when I said there are ways of to lower your premium, but you must not compromise on your coverage.
Yeah.
You must cover your family for enough and more. So calculate the amount of required and cover your family for enough. And you should actually go ahead and inflate this figure to the age when you are going to be 60 and take that coverage. That is the amount of coverage that you must carry. There are super top-up policies that are available and they are very, very cheap. The only thing that when you're buying those policies that you need to take care is that some super top-up policies will not take the shape of your base. So अगर आपका base policy single private room allow कर रहा है, there is a possibility कि आपका या से deluxe room allow कर रहा है या suite room allow कर रहा है, और there is a possibility कि आपका जो super top-up policy है वो उसी चीज को allow नहीं कर रहा है. तो अभी ये किसको याद रहेगा कि 20 लाख का बिल हो गया और अब हमको जो है ना suite room से single private room में shift करना है, तो उसके लिए when you are buying the policy,
So Pallavi, these are nitty-gritties, maybe one-to-one can be discussed, but the idea is to give this knowledge that there is a base policy and there is a super top-up.
Yes, so there are these policies available, and you must, when you're looking at those policies, just evaluate them properly. So go to a financial planner or go to a proper advisor to help you through this. I would not recommend you go buy it off Policy Bazaar like that, or, let me not take a vendor name. A person's name, but a site's name, but, don't try and just pick it off online. Please try and consult somebody before you buy these policies, because you could be in a bigger soup then. Now, to summarize everything, this is what typically a financial pyramid looks like. You must start from the base and build your portfolio all the way to the top, starting from your insurances and protecting risks, which is absolutely necessary. You go to the next level, which is your long-term goals, where all your goals and your capital accumulation starts to happen, which is the must do. And then you go on to the should do's, where your dreams will come in, all your dreams that you had categorized as dreams. That is where they will come in. And then the next is the nice to do's, which is extremely excessively speculative markets like, Bitcoins, like paintings, like, so you can get into that as well. But that is going to be only and only after you have address the first 3 steps of your pyramid. And if you build your financial portfolio like this, you will see that there will be higher stability in your portfolio. Now, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And I very, very strongly believe in this statement, and which is why I very highly recommend everyone to have a financial plan. Now, this is how a typical financial plan. So this is a very basic financial plan that we make for our clients. I have taken a screenshot of it and put it for you here. This is the simplest form of financial plan that you can see. So there is the details of the family. Then there is a profit and loss statement of the family. What is the family's monthly income? What is their expense? How much are they saving? How much are they investing? What is their insurance premiums? And what is the money that is left after, so this is the, So now this is the money that is left after, this is the surplus that is left after everything is paid off. Now, apart from that, when you come to risk planning, then they should have this kind of an insurance cover. 3 crore का insurance cover requirement है. Health insurance इनके ऊपर 40 लाख का होना चाहिए. Emergency fund इनका इतना होना चाहिए, is what they have calculated. Now these are the premiums that we have given them कि भाई अगर आप annually करते हो और monthly करते हो, तो these are the premiums that are going to be available to you. Yeah. Apart from that, you will see niche here, this is the goals of the customer. Now, the customer has said that I need to accumulate my emergency fund. in the next 6 months, I need to have 14 lakhs as emergency fund. Then my daughter Sheetal, uska graduation hai, uska marriage hai. Then Arnav ka graduation hai, marriage hai. Then there is a domestic vacation that I like to take with my family every year. Then there is a retirement plan, which is 25 years from now, and car. So you can see that this I already got you to do. If you remember the first activity that we did, I have already gotten you to do this. You have already listed down your goals, years to the goals, and you have listed down the current value that you require. So you've already done this part of your financial plan. The next is studying your existing investments. Now, this helps me to understand what is it that you have already done. It also helps me to weed out any junk that is there in your portfolio, anything that is not performing towards meeting your goals. अब आपने मुझे बता दिया यहाँ आपको पहुंचना है, तो मुझे यहीं पहुंचाना है आपको. I cannot let you go anywhere else, right? That is my job as your planner. So for that, I will first see कि आप जा कहाँ रहे हैं with your existing investments. What is the insurance covers that you carry? What is your health insurance cover, your life insurance cover? What is it that you have saved in mutual funds, and how much have you saved where? So that is what are your loans? What are your other liabilities that are there? And once I understand that, I'm going to make my recommendation to you. And my recommendation will look something like this. So you will see that I like to, even for mutual fund schemes, I like to give it a purpose. So this is ABC equity fund, this is multi-cap fund, this is low duration fund. What is it kept for? This is the amount we have invested. This is the current value of the amount. We started this day. This is the SIP that is going into this. This is his existing investments, right? Now, this is my recommendation sheet where I say these are the shortfalls. So this you will see, this is showing you the shortfall. Yeah, this is the future amount that is required. This is the contribution from existing investment that will come. तो ये कौन सा existing investment है? ये हमारा ये वाला low duration fund है. You will see that ये low duration fund यहाँ पे भी exist कर रहा है, ठीक है? Towards an emergency fund, this low duration fund is in existing. So ये हमारा existing fund है. ये मेरे पास FD है. इतना मुझे existing से आ जा रहा है. मेरे को shortfall आ रहा है. उसको fulfill करने के लिए मुझे monthly 31,000 save करने की जरूरत है. शीतल का ग्रेजुएशन के लिए इस तरह से मुझे पैसा आएगा. एग्जिस्टिंग मेरे पास ये है और इनसे मुझे इतना शॉर्टफॉल आ रहा है, तो मुझे ये सेविंग करने की जरूरत है, राइट? देन इट कम डाउन, यू विल सी our insurance recommendations. You must buy a term cover of 1.5 crores और इनको लेने की जरूरत है. ये हमने अप्लाई कर रखा है. देन इनको हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस कवर चाहिए, 15 लाख का लेने की जरूरत है, जो हमने अप्लाई कर रखा है. Basis our discussion with the client, what is it that we agreed upon, and what is the action that we have already taken towards this, right? Now this is what we agreed, that we will start an SIP for this much. From that we have started ये emergency fund की SIP start हो चुकी है. शीतल के graduation और अर्नव के graduation की SIP start हो चुकी है. Retirement SIP has started. The vacation fund and the insurance premiums वाला SIP has not started yet. Yeah, so those still need to get started. They will start from next month, and the remaining we will discuss. So every time there is a review, there is going to be a date that will come in over here. There will be the points we discussed that will come in here. What is the action that we are going to take, and what is the status? Yeah, and this is the most common, this is the basic financial plan that you can come across. This is typically how, yeah.
Hi, Pallavi. Amit has a question. Amit, you may ask your question, please. Amit Singhal.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, Amit.
Yeah. Actually, one query actually I've heard from one of my peer. Like I'm having my health insurance from my company, and what I have heard from one of the peer is if I need to have one parallel health insurance. In case I will not be using after, for example, my age is 40 years, and after 20 years when going to retire or so that whatever installment I am having right away, that will be intact. Otherwise, if I'll take at that time 55 or 60, then it will be huge. So
Yeah.
could you clarify
No,
that?
so that is one second. That's a myth that Amit कि health insurance का premium rise नहीं करता है. Health insurance का premium हर साल rise करेगा ही करेगा, ऐसा नहीं है. Life insurance का premium rise नहीं करता. Health insurance का premium will rise, but the reason that is not the reason why you must buy it. You must still buy it, and the reason why you must buy it is because you may not get it once you are 60. A lot of things will not get covered for you once you are 60. So therefore you must buy. You must still buy health insurance cover apart from your corporate cover. But the reason to buy is that you will not get it by then. Plus also there are going to be times when you will be changing jobs. When you are in between jobs and you don't have any coverage. There will be things. So also please understand, after this COVID era, I saw a lot of companies have actually done a lot of cost cutting on their group policies. Now, originally their group policy was covering everything from day one. ठीक है? अभी आपने एक कंपनी ज्वाइन करी, उसमें सब कुछ day one से covered था. ठीक है? Next year, the company says, oh, you know what? I cannot afford because the premium is going up. Pallavi, put a waiting period of 2 years on pre-existing. So the group policy का premium comes down. Their spend, उनका कॉस्ट कटिंग है, उन्होंने कॉस्ट कट कर ली, आपको हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस दे रखा है. हाँ, अभी आप बीमार पड़ गए और प्री एग्जिस्टिंग डिजीज से बीमार पड़ गए, आपको कवर नहीं मिलेगा क्योंकि इस साल तो उन्होंने प्री एग्जिस्टिंग पे 2 साल का वेटिंग पीरियड लगा रखा है. आपकी प्री एग्जिस्टिंग 1 साल पहले डिक्लेयर हुई है.
So Pallavi, is it possible that we buy a lower premium policy in the beginning and then later increase the coverage?
Absolutely, that is what I said. If you have a good corporate cover, what you must do is buy a basic health insurance policy with maximum waiting periods. Okay, अपनी personal जो खरीदो उसमें maximum waiting period वाली policy खरीद लो with a top-up policy like Asim said, so that you have adequate coverage. Yeah, but have that coverage in place. So there are policies that are more expensive. Why are they expensive? Because they waive off your waiting periods. They will cover maternity for you. Now that is okay. Maternity, that's another important point. A lot of, I don't know the age group. Asim told me is closer to 40s and 35s. So you will have probably maternity that may be a part of your scene. You may be planning family. So that's another very important point that you must keep in mind. कि जब आप हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस पॉलिसी खरीद रहे हैं and you say I don't want to cover maternity because it is going to give me only 50,000 rupees upon a C-section surgery, please understand, if you don't cover maternity, you will lose out on a lot. And what is the lot that you will lose out on? That should there be a complication arising out of maternity, even that will not get covered. So for instance, I had a friend जिसका कि उसने अपना प्रीमियम कम करने के लिए he took a policy that did not cover maternity.
So yeah? Pallavi, if this is covered, we can remove the screen and we can have a question answer session because it's already 12:35.
So basically my next thing was only about questions. So if there are any questions, you may want to take a screenshot of this. This is the email addresses where you may want to kind of reach out to me. Pallavi at Bluestone, it's Bluestone with a double E. So I'll
share this. Pallavi, I'll share this with everybody on the group. But in case you can just,
I will just share it. Yes.
So now we are open for any questions. And before we go to question 2-3 quick things which I gathered is: one, term plan is must for all of us, and value of term plan should be enough that it should be able to cover our expenses and everything. Number 2, medical insurance is must. Even if you are covered from your own company, you should take smaller and slowly make it bigger when you go to that age, so that there's no waiting period, everything is covered, and you have logged in the policy at a younger age. And you should take a super top up to make it economical policy. And number 3 is for investments, you should be focused for your goals, time zone, and then you should choose the instrument accordingly. If you are aggressive or short term or long term, and what I gathered is for people like us who are not totally financial wizard, I think mutual fund or SIP is a very good thing to do. So these are areas. I also gathered, don't mix insurance with investment. Mutual fund with insurance, which is a ULIP or all that fund, is not there. Another thing which I gathered is any investment tool you pick, it should give you return more than the inflation. Then only you have the purchasing power with your money. Now, these are the 3-4 tips I thought I'll just summarize for you guys. Let's have questions. We have another 10-15 minutes. Any questions, guys?
I can see Amit has.
Yeah. No, my point is actually same into actually I already having means I will buy one insurance, health insurance parallelly. My point is I'm not using for next 20 years. Is it advantage in terms of like I'm not using or I'm having some advantage of that? Like you say health insurance, the premium will be intact.
Amit, I think this is a very personal question. You are saying I am buying insurance, but I am not using. What is the advantage? Tell me one thing. When you take a car insurance, do you want to take the advantage of insurance by getting your car, stolen? No. Insurance is always a safety against risk. And second thing, I probably very clearly said, if you don't take insurance at young age, at old age, it will be very expensive. Number 1. Number 2, you may not get certain diseases covered. And number 3, you may have exclusions in that. So it is a good idea to do it now so that the risk is covered at old age, because we all would need it. Yeah, our lifestyle is such, health, diseases, everything is so much that we need insurance. And I have seen families getting ruined paying the medical bill, borrowing, selling gold, selling property just to get treatment. When you can pay 5% money to get a 100% coverage. I mean, for 1 crore coverage, you have to pay just 15% of the premium. Why not 15? Actually, 1.5% of the premium. Why not? Does I answer your question, Amit?
Yeah, somewhat, but last line I will say.
आप use नहीं भी करेंगे ना, that's fine. You must still have it because, so I have seen people who have had pulmonary issues after COVID. So they were absolutely happy, healthy, and they developed a pulmonary issue after their COVID. And they were non-insurable after that. So हम उनसे कहते रहे आप इंश्योरेंस खरीद लीजिए, उन्होंने तब लिया नहीं. And जब वो लेना चाहते थे, तब तक it was too late. The companies wouldn't offer it to him. Yeah. So yes, I know you are thinking that it is going to be a waste of money, but believe me, this is not money that you want to utilize. Please let it go. 10%. I am anyway telling you to put aside for covering risk. And if you think that's a waste, let it go waste. Coming from a financial planner, take it that it is an important expense that you are making.
Okay.
Yeah. Please.
Yes,
Lalit. Lalit, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So Pallavi, my question is it better to take a home loan? Or is it, to go for a self-funding home if you have, surplus available with you?
So it depends on what you're doing with the surplus available with you. So if it is lying in your savings bank account, then don't take a home loan. But if that surplus is invested at a rate higher than what the home loan is charging you, then I'd say that take the home loan. So it is going to be it is going to be a thing of evaluation. You may have to consult somebody who will actually evaluate your situation and be able to give you an answer.
Okay.
But broadly, the thumb rule is कि अगर आपका जो existing investment है, वो 1 करोड़ रुपया जो आपका रखा हुआ है, वो अगर आपका home loan के interest rate से ज़्यादा आपको पैसे दे रहा है, then don't take a home loan. Then take a home loan. But अगर ज़्यादा पैसे नहीं दे रहा है, then don't take a home loan. Just buy it from there. Yeah. It also depends on what is your other situation. So this is just a bird's eye view or a broad this thing, but there are other things. What are your other liabilities? How much can you take on how much debt can you take on in your portfolio? Does your portfolio allow you to take debt or not? Those are things that will require evaluation before you go for a loan.
Yeah. Thanks, Pallavi. Anybody else, guys?
Pallavi, one question I'm having.
Yeah, Glenda.
Actually, how to calculate the education part, because that is always critical. Like it is going, which rate it is going, we don't know. Something I planned for son around 15 years back, and now I am seeing what I have planned, it is around 5 to 6 times more. I don't know how education side, inflation rate, how to calculate and how to.
So there are enough articles available on this. So this is actually about, so yeah, a lot of people make this mistake of taking the general inflation rate as the rate of inflation for education as well. And sometimes they take it lower also. So it's a mistake people make. कि 6% या 4% ले लिया inflation on education, when actually the rate of inflation on education is closer to 12-13%.
Absolutely.
So, that is the rate that you must consider, and if you require an evaluation of that, we will be happy to help you. You can just drop me a message and I can help you with that corpus calculation. जैसे मैंने आपको FB बताया ना, वैसे ही calculate होगा ये.
Right. What happens, there is the inflation rate which we normally read in newspaper and see, that is called WPI inflation rate, whole price index inflation rate. Now that inflation rate is not, but what impacts us is the retail inflation rate, and retail inflation is generally 1.5 times than the basic. So you should take 12% inflation rate for your investment, particularly for medical or for emergency fund or for education. So do that way. But I think the best idea would be to gain more knowledge by talking to experts like Aseem or Pallavi, so that you have adequate knowledge about various investments and you can understand, because what we are talking today is very generic in nature, and for each person is different, because your age is different, your liabilities are different, your money is different, your number of children and stage is different. So I think it should be specific, and for that you should speak to an expert and then make your financial plan.
Thanks Aseem. Thanks Pallavi.
Also, so I remember Aseem, someone asked about cancer insurance. So I don't remember the name of the person, but somebody had asked about cancer insurance. So let me tell you, cancer insurance or these critical illness insurances that you get are. Sumit, was that you who asked about cancer insurance?
So somebody else.
No, I did not.
Sumit will have another question after this, Pallavi.
So cancer insurance जो होता है, that will cover the incident itself. So अगर आपको cancer हो गया is what is covered by cancer insurance. What it will do is it will give you lump sum money at the time. It does not require you to produce any any proof of treatment. You only have to create proof. Health insurance hospitalization का खर्चा देता है. But जब कैंसर होता है ना, या इस तरह की कोई critical illness होती है, then that is not the only expense. For instance, when my mother got cancer, my brother, my mother and me, we flew down to Bombay because we wanted to get treatment from Tata Memorial. Yeah. So we flew down to Bombay. We were staying in a hotel. Now hotel room का खर्चे का भी तो खर्चा था. And for the 2 months or 3 months that mummy was in Bombay, one of us had to keep that hotel room and one of us was traveling. Yeah. So those back and forth. Now that is an extra expense that came on all of us. Yeah. And there are many other expenses that are not going to get covered by your health insurance policy. So for that, you need to buy. So any of these larger critical illnesses have separate covers, which upon the announcement of the disease will give you a certain lump sum money. And those I think I recommend to people. So like for my family, I have definitely given it to everybody, cancer insurance, because cancer runs in my family. Yeah. So that is what I recommend. There is something.
Yeah, Sumit, your question, please.
Ma'am, again, Pallavi, this is Sumit. It would be specific to individual, but then what conventionally, I'm now 52. When we started our career, the family advised for investing in LIC policies, lots of them. So out of more eagerness or ambition, I invested in almost 25, 30, like hordes of them. So now these are endowment policies, small values, but then you know what, their return is as feeble as 2% or even lesser than that. Most of the people advise me that dump them. There's no point even retaining them because instead of that premium, if you put it in other investments, it will be fetching far more return. Looking at a horizon of maturity in the next 10 years time. What is your take on this? Does it make any sense after you have paid 20 years into a policy? Does it make any point in retaining when you know that it is not going to give more than 2%? Where insurance per se, life insurance is not the objective because I am amply covered by term policies.
I really appreciate your commitment to your policies. But I think so it is very hard to comment like this. I would be, I'd recommend that you connect with me separately. I will look into those policies and tell you. But broadly, if you're telling me that, आपने एक गलती कर दी थी और आप उस गलती को निभाते जा रहे हैं, तो गलती मत निभाओ यार, आगे बढ़ो.
Pallavi, I would like to add, Smith, because we are.
I would say that आप एक बार separately मुझसे connect करिए. And
I will do that.
But Smith, I would like to add, Smith, what Pallavi said in a broader way. But as Pallavi said, it's specific. But we were in same condition. We are same age group guys. We were together in college. But you don't need to dump those policies. There is something called surrender your policy, and you can check with the insurance company what is the surrender value of your policy. Now, suppose you have a 5 lakh money back policy or endowment policy of LIC, and you have paid for so many years now. You can check the surrender value, and for the remaining years, you check if the same money you put in a mutual fund or somewhere else, which gives you more money. Simple calculation, and you do that. I did that. So money back, I already got 2 money backs, and I got the surrender value, and I said, okay, I'll dump it, and instead I will surrender it, get my money, and I'll put it in a SIP. And in 4 years, it covered my all loss of those 10 years. So there's a simple math you should do. And if your policies are maturing in the next 3 to 4 years, then don't surrender them right now.
Of course,
if they are maturing in if 7 saal pade hain, 9 saal pade hain, 10 saal pade hain, so do this simple calculation, ask them for surrender value, look at the money you are getting, put that money into this, check if you go to maturity what you will get. You may get 3 lakh, 3.5 lakh, and you are paying maybe 5,000. If you put that 5,000 somewhere else and the surrender value, generally thumb rule, it will give you more money.
Yeah,
so
that's exactly what I meant. You want to surrender the policy, but before I recommend that you surrender the policy, I would want to take a look at your other things, because please understand the mortality charge that you would be paying in these policies would be very low because you bought them at a very early age. So I would want to evaluate the policy before I make a a blanket recommendation that you kind of surrender.
अरोड़ा साहब LIC को मत डुबा देना, पॉलिसी सरेंडर.
1 लाख करोड़ के ऊपर कैसे डूबे थे मेरे 2-3 लाख.
मेरे को लगा LIC ना डूब जाए, आपकी पॉलिसी सरेंडर करते हैं.
Okay guys, we have two.
I have a
Thank you, Pallavi.
And one question Tyagi asked a chat box where he said that we have I have amply covered with my company, but if I have to buy a medical policy, when should I start? Though I answered you should start immediately, but Pallavi, you want to say anything?
You should start yesterday. You should have started yesterday, but now is not bad too. So
whatever
policy.
But if I'm not going to use it for next 8 years or 10 years till
it's okay.
That's still an expense that you want to make.
It's okay,
but how does it benefit me? I mean, it's just an additional health insurance, right?
Okay, so I'll take this because if you don't buy now and when you retire at 60, you will be without insurance coverage. And when you try to take an insurance coverage at 60, number one, it will be very expensive. Number two, they may not cover you completely at that age and that stage of our health. Number three, they may put waiting period for various areas, which means for 3 years will not cover this, will not cover this, which means you will be in a risk at that age because you don't have adequate coverage, inadequate coverage. So for that purpose, I'll share my experience. When I was 31, 32, when I joined Max New York Life, I was covered by my company, but I took my personal insurance along with that for my family. At the age of 40, I left job and I started my business. Now, at the age of 40, if I would have taken an insurance policy, it would have costed me, say, $100. But my policy, which was going from 31 years of age, was much lesser. It was complete coverage. And then I ported to another company because portability is also allowed. So anybody who's in 50s, covered by companies, and thinking that koi baat nahi 60 pe le lunga, guys, buy it now. It's an investment you must do. And then slowly you can increase the coverage, because if you're covered and you're increasing the coverage slowly after 3 years, 4 years, it's okay. But if you increase the coverage suddenly after 10 years, then again medical checks and they may get worried that maybe you're not well, that's why you're increasing the coverage.
I have one more
Vijay.
question. We are talking about Max, we are talking about all other, insurance policies. There are a couple of policies I see with LIC also, health insurance and cancer insurance. How these are rated, as compared to the private ones?
So, sir, LIC will not offer you a health insurance policy. LIC may offer you a cancer insurance policy, which is again so please understand, insurance products जो होता है ना, दो तरह के होते हैं. One is an indemnity product and one is a benefit product.
Yeah.
But it is very important to understand this distinction. When you say it is an indemnity product, then your health insurance is an indemnity product. Your car insurance is an indemnity product. It will only indemnify you to the extent of the loss. So which means that I may have a 1 crore cover, but if my hospital bill is 10,000 rupees, it will give me only 10,000 rupees. Yeah, it is going to indemnify me to the extent of the loss. Second is a benefit cover. A benefit cover is that I may have spent 10,000 rupees, but I have been diagnosed of cancer. It will give me 50 lakhs if my coverage is 50 lakhs. It will give me 1 crore if my sum insured is 1 crore.
That's one-time payment. That's one-time payment.
Yeah, it's a one-time payment. Yeah. Now, and it will not get renewed. Yeah. Now, your health insurance, your indemnity products can only get offered by general insurance companies. Yeah. Your benefit products will get offered by both general insurance companies also and life insurance companies also. Therefore, you see plans like cancer insurance from LIC, cancer insurance from Max Life, cancer insurance from Bajaj. That is how you see these products. But please understand, they will not indemnify your hospital bill. They will just give you lump sum paisa. It's a benefit policy. So I hope that kind of answers your question, Brajesh ji. And I can see Kuldeep ji has his hand up.
Kuldeep and Subhash, last two questions. We are running out of time. I have to catch a flight quickly.
So I'll quickly ask, I'll quickly ask the question. Kuldeep, hold on, please.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So one thing is there, of course, all this, I want to go to the wonderland where, I can get maximum returns with minimum risk, but I don't think that is possible, number one. And this question of, what is my risk appetite? I don't even know that. Yeah. So somewhere in my head, I have to get it. What is my risk appetite? Obviously, I want, 20% returns, but zero risk. Yeah. It should come somewhere, fall down. Anyway, that's a comment. One question I have a national insurance medical policy. Is this top up and all that available in that policy? And one last thing is, what's the difference between ETF and mutual fund, or are they the same thing? Yeah, thank you.
So yes, I think National also offers a top-up policy. Otherwise, you can also take your top-up policy from a different insurer. It does not matter. The only thing that happens is that अगर same insurer होता है तो cashless की possibility हो जाती है. But अगर insurer different हो जाता है तो cashless की possibility नहीं रह जाती है top-up policy से claim करने में. Yeah. So I hope that kind of answers. Sure. Secondly, about your risk profile, I have already said that my team will be happy to help you. You can see Mayank Vashne also over here. He is, he is a part of my team and he is a pro at this. He will be very easily be able to help you with your calculations, with your, kind of risk appetite. जो आप जानना चाह रहे हैं, he will be very happy to help you understand what is your risk appetite. Yeah, and for your risk tolerance basis your goals, I will be happy to engage with you on that. Sure. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that answers.
Let's have the last question of the day.
Yeah.
Seaman Pallavi for the nice session. I have a very brief question, Pallavi. See, I always wonder, when the market is peaking out, what is a good time to book profit, even if you don't need the money? Because at times you take out the money, put in some debt, and then later on you end up putting in the equity fund at a higher price. So I always get confused with this particular thing. So any tip you want to give?
Sure. So one, profit booking is something that a lot of people ask me questions about. Now, profit booking, if you're talking specifically with regards to mutual fund schemes, I'm guessing that's what you are asking about.
Yes, please.
So mutual fund schemes में आपको 1 लाख रुपए तक का profit तो हर साल ही book करना चाहिए. And the reason is that it allows you exemption from tax.
Yeah, I know. Beyond that, I mean, beyond that, I'm
You
saying.
book that, and beyond that also, if you think that, so nobody can catch the peak and nobody can catch the low.
You can never time the market, guys.
Yeah, do not try and time the market. But yes, if you do feel that, you have, so it is basis your risk expectation. Now, I could see the pharmaceutical funds were racing, but as soon as I saw 85% return on my fund, I redeemed and I reinvested because I booked my profits. मेरे को 85% से ज़्यादा नहीं चाहिए भैया, तू ले आ 120%. But I know that what if I corrode that also? So I have to have my risk, my, my expectation, my return expectation clear. And that again will, if you have a financial plan in place, it helps you address this very easily. कि कितना प्रॉफिट बुक करना है, कहाँ से बुक करना है, कौन से फंड में से करना है, your plan will help you address it very easily.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Guys,
Thank you.
1 o'clock. Brijesh, I'm sorry. I think I don't know what's your question. It's very brief one. Quickly tell us.
Do that, but उसके अंदर थोड़ा complication ये होता है कि अगर आपका जो hospital bill है, वो उसके beyond चला गया, then you will land up paying a lot from your pocket.
No, another thing, Pallavi, I would like to add, Brijesh, because these are top-up plans are based on the deductible. So अगर आपका base 2 है, तो शायद आप 1 crore का नहीं ले पाओगे top-up. Am I right, Pallavi? Because deductible will be 2 plus 8, 5 plus 20.
Also, your deductible will determine how expensive your top-up policy is getting.
Yes.
Therefore, I would recommend that you have a 10 to 20 lakh base plan, at least for a family of 4, have a 20 lakh. मतलब 5 लाख का तो कम से कम एवरेज लेके चलो ना per person.
तो 5 पे क्या होता है, आप 5 के ऊपर आप मेरा ख्याल 25 लाख का ले सकते हो शायद टॉपअप. अलग अलग कंपनी के रूल्स हैं.
आप 1 करोड़ तक का भी ले सकते हो भाई. आप 1 करोड़
5 लाख के ऊपर भी. ओके
5 plus 95 भी आता है, बट वो महंगा हो जाता है.
Okay, guys, great. Pallavi, thank you very much. Asim, thank you for joining. I know you are just back out of a hospital yesterday. Good to see you smiling. It means you're fit. And guys, can we just switch on cameras once so that we can click a picture for just to share on the group. Guys, if you can just switch on camera for a minute, we'll take this picture so that when you contact, she knows what's the face contacting. Fantastic. Sanjeev, Anshul, please quickly, if you can just give once. Vinod, Rajiv, Pruthi, please, if you can also switch on camera. I'll just click a picture. We all can smile here. Fantastic. And one more, we have 2 pages. Who are these pages? Yes, I'm taking another picture, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, now, thank you very much. I hope this was a basic, but it helped all of us. And I could also see certain very basic questions. I'm going to get after Brijesh Tyagi and Smith Arora because they are batchmates. I see some gaps in their planning. So I'm going to talk to them. All other, Pallavi's number is there. I can only tell you, totally dependable person, right advice, and she'll be able to help you with all your questions, queries, and anxieties or apprehensions. And once you are done, if you want to hire her, I will recommend her as a financial planner. They are fantastic people. So that's all, guys. Thank you very much to all of you. Pallavi, Asim, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Asim.
Thank you, Asim.
It was lovely being on this.
I will share Pallavi's details.
Thank you very much.
And details.
Also,
Thank you, guys.
Asim, as a freebie, what I'd like to offer all of you is that जिस तरह के questions आप लोगों ने मुझसे पूछे, इस तरह के questions मैं ज़्यादातर अपनी emails में answer करती हूँ. I give out 2 emails every week, and I call them value emails because they will have suggestions and tips like this from me. So if you want to subscribe to that, just reach out, just drop me your email address in my inbox.
Okay, guys, great. Pallavi, thank you very much. Asim, thank you for joining. I know you are just back out of a hospital yesterday. Good to see you smiling. It means you're fit. And guys,
thank you, Asim.
can we just switch on cameras once so that we can click a picture just to share on the group? Guys, if you can just share, switch on camera for a minute, we'll take this picture so that when you contact, she knows what's the face contacting. Fantastic. Sanjeev, Anshul, please quickly, if you can just give once. Vinod, Rajiv, Pruthi, please, if you can also switch on camera. I'll just click a picture. We all can smile here. Fantastic. And one more, we have 2 pages. Who are these pages? Yes, I'm taking another picture, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, now, thank you very much. I hope this was a basic, but it helped all of us. And I could also see certain very basic questions. I'm going to get after Brijesh Tyagi and Smith Arora because they are batchmates. I see some gaps in their planning. So I'm going to talk to them. All other, Pallavi's number is there. I can only tell you, totally dependable person, right advice, and she'll be able to help you with all your questions, queries, and anxieties or apprehensions. And once you are done, if you want to hire her, I will recommend her as a financial planner. They are fantastic people. So that's all, guys. Thank you very much to all of you. Pallavi, Aseem, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aseem.
Thank you, Aseem.
It was lovely being on this.
I will share Pallavi's detail.
Thank you very much.
And details. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Aseem, as a freebie, what I'd like to offer all of you is that जिस तरह के questions आप लोगों ने मुझसे पूछे, इस तरह के questions मैं ज़्यादातर अपनी emails में answer करती हूँ. I give out 2 emails every week, and I call them value emails because they will have suggestions and tips like this from me. So if you want to subscribe to that, just reach out, just drop me your email address in my inbox. चाहे आप मुझे WhatsApp कर दें, चाहे आप email कर दें, and I will be happy to add you to my email list. But you have to specifically say that you want to be part of my value letter series. Yeah.
They are good mails. मेरी जो इतनी सारी knowledge आपने मेरी इतनी सारी knowledge देखी आपने वो उन emails के through ही थी, because I subscribe to them. Okay, guys, bye bye. Thank you very much. See you soon on the next session.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.